Reflective practice does not come easy to everybody. Some doctors think 3 words are sufficient to describe what happened. Some doctors feel obliged to write a 3-page essay on what happened and everything that they have learnt. In fact, for the appraisal process, you should be writing somewhere between maybe 3 sentences and 3 paragraphs. And so this is how to write a reflection without tears or heartache for your appraiser. We suggest that you always write what happened, and in the case of serious incidents, how you responded. You should always write what you learnt and what you will do in the future. So you see, there's not very much that needs to be written. When we describe what happened, we must always use the word I and me to indicate your involvement with that process, otherwise you're just describing an event that we can read about in some other way. So here's a couple of suggestions as to how to use the first person. Secondly, you should describe the event objectively but succinctly. So this is a description of a continuing professional development event. This is a description of a quality improvement event. This is a description of a serious untoward incident. Although it's very tempting to put your own spin on things, you should try to avoid using your own judgment or interpretation in an unconstructive way, even if you feel very strongly about it. You should instead be quite objective about how you responded. And in the case of serious untoward events, you need to describe the way you perceived the event. This is a suggestion as to how to respond to a serious untoward event investigation. Here is an example of a reflection on a continuing medical education event. And this is an example of a response to a quality improvement or audit event. In the case of serious untoward incidents, you need to say why you think things happened the way they did. And here's a few examples. You need to be honest about the emotions and feelings that the event itself triggered, but not in an unconstructive way. It's fine to feel guilty. It's fine to feel angry or frustrated at other people. It is good to feel relieved that things didn't turn out even worse. So you will need to say what you have learnt in any of the supporting documents that you upload. You'll need to say what parts went well. You should reflect on what parts did not go well. In all cases, you need to say what you've learnt from the event, because this is core to the entire appraisal process. In the case of continuing medical education, you can quite simply say that you've learnt about the indications for a particular surgical procedure or treatment. In the case of an audit, you can just state the findings of the audit. In the case of serious untoward incidents, you can state what you've learnt about the events leading up to that incident. You should always say what you will do differently next time. Quite often, in the case of audits or continuing medical education, it might just confirm you that you don't need to change your practice, and this is fine to say, but you do need to say something. Sometimes you'll find a new treatment or procedure and you say, I will prescribe this for my patients in the future. In the case of an audit, you might need to start closing the loop, such as in this example. Or in terms of your personal audit, you can now inform your patients of your success and complication rates in a more quantitative way. In the case of surgical complications, you can say how you're going to change your practice so that you can make the risk of that complication happening much lower. So in summary, reflective practice is quick, but helpful both for your appraisal and maybe even for yourself in the future, by describing what happened, where necessary, how you responded to the event, always about what you learnt and what you will do in the future. Just always use the first person and you will be able to complete your appraisal without tears.